I'll be reading from A Golden Leaf in Time Revised. She didn't bother to bring up her box of files. She just put them in the trunk for the next assignment. She only brought up her plant to water it and give it life. She straightened up some and listened to some smooth jazz in an effort to relax. She popped open a can of beer and mumbled, "Still got some unfinished business." As she finished the beer, she decided to check out the inevitable. Was her best friend really sleeping with her guy? She simply had to find out. It was now dark, and these dark thoughts loomed. She knew that she should not be investigating, but all reasoning could not stop her. She headed to a car and drove to his house, and it was almost as if the car was being driven by an invisible force. She'd made that journey so many times before, and her car, Tawny, seemed to know the way on its own. When she got there, having just turned the bend, she saw Lila's new Jaguar in the driveway. She paused. She didn't know what to do. She sat there for a while with the old car idling a little loudly. Then she pulled into the driveway behind Lila's car. Her thoughts raced. Should I ring the bell and turn this place out, or should I just let it go? She sat there for a while. She did not see any lights on inside, so she figured that they didn't even know she was out there. She sat and cried and wondered if she should ring the bell. But in a mess of tears, Phoenix decided to back out instead. In a nervous zigzag, she ended up taking part of his sidewalk mailbox with her. He then ran out of the house, shouting, "What are you doing?" And she sped off, confused, moving in a fog. She forgot about where she was headed and just drove and drove. She wasn't ready to go home yet and just stew. But the more she drove, the more unfamiliar her surroundings became. She thought that she knew the city quite well, but now she knew that she was really lost. She knew she was in trouble when she ended up on a dark, two-lane highway that was heading into the state of Mississippi. When she saw two large white corner posts on both sides of the highway and a plantation-looking house to the right, she realized that she was truly headed for trouble. It was like a surreal picture of an entry into the pearly gates. Phoenix quickly did a three-point turn and drove in the opposite direction until she saw lights and civilization. When she saw houses and residential districts again, her bladder began to scream for alleviation. She pulled over to the side of the road, hoping that no one was looking, and took a long, long leak. Luckily, she was not stopped. She returned to the steering wheel and saw a Pizza Hut in a strip mall. The lights were still on. She staggered to the door. It was locked, but a young teenager came to the door and said that they were closed. She asked for directions back to the city, and the young woman pointed her in the proper direction. She was her angel for that night, which was filled with pain, fear, and terror.